Hello and welcome to Mimosa Tech Talk, brought to you by Mimosa Networks. Hi, I'm Dustin, and today we have special guest Jim Nevelle on. Jim, thanks for joining us. I think this is probably, your third podcast with us so far?
I think so, Dustin. Excited to be here.
So that makes this episode number 46. So I think we'll go ahead and just jump right into it. So, this podcast is to talk about the end of sale or the end of life of the 5 Series product. And before we go on, I know that sounds scary to everybody that's listening or watching this, but hopefully going through this will help calm your fears and help make you feel better. So, um, before we start poking Jim with a pointy stick, let's let him explain himself some before we start getting our pitchforks out. So I think the first question, Jim, we'll just jump right in here is, why is Mimosa announcing the end of life for the 5 Series products right now?
Yeah, so I guess with timing wise, today's May 1st overall, so announcements went out to the customer base, out to the world. So let's take a snapshot of what's happened over the past year and a half. It was about August of 23. Reliance Jio came in and acquired Mimosa through its company Radisys, with the primary task of being their flagship product, what they call Air Fiber. And this is for them to go out and offer internet connectivity using unlicensed broadband radios, hence the Mimosa products. And the decision was made to utilize our A6 and C6X and then other type of technologies too that we'll mention here a little bit in regards to it. And that has gone extremely well. The magnitude of what we're dealing with is millions of units have shipped to Reliance Jio, the Mimosa platform. And as such, that has brought a lot of benefits to us. Number one, we have now been able to, when you manufacture that type of quantity, it allows you a lot of things, a lot more efficiencies, a lot more items that you can bring into the fold. It has also allowed us to expand our R&D footprint. We've tripled R&D over the past 18 months. But what it's really done is brought us into we'll call it one of the largest tier 1 carriers on the planet and becoming a carrier grade platform. So as such, all of our R&D activity has been focusing on to the future. Then you have this other item of our 5 Series. It's been around a long time. It's been over 10 years. It is a workhorse. It's done a fantastic job for us, etc. But it was also built on a technology that's 10 years old. We're dealing with a chipset that was basically based off of 11AC. We know that is now in sunset mode. I don't care what vendor you are, what technology. If you're utilizing what we'll call a Wi-Fi 5 chipset right now, everybody's migrating off of that. Even low-end routers, for example, are starting to fall off of that, moving towards a 6 at least as they're going forward with it. And we're following the same. We think the 6 is the future. We're going to continue to plow R&D resources into it, continue to move forward. So the main reason we're doing this is we see where the future is coming from. It's getting to that point in time where we need to migrate off the 5 and start pushing the world towards a 6.
Got it. Can you talk more about, is this partially because of chipset availability and other issues as well?
So let's talk 2 separate items. So one, the world chipset vendors, it doesn't matter who you're dealing with, obviously they want to start migrating people to more advanced chipsets. To even get your hands on 5 has been somewhat of an issue, just to everybody in general. Now, we are in a very unique spot because of the magnitude of what Mimosa is doing, especially with Reliance Jio. We have the ability to, we'll call it, push supply chain our way. So we did have options available to us to continue on with the 5, but we have made a strategic initiative to move people towards 6. We think this is the better platform. This is going to be where things are going. So I would not say it was a supply chain issue that hit us as much as we made a conscious decision. It's time to move on.
Got it. So because of this, then what specific products are going to be affected by this end of life announcement?
So essentially, everything within our 5 series family. So A5, its derivatives, the C5, its derivatives. Also, our B11 and B24 products are based off of our 5 series family. So those will also be affected in regards to it. Uh, I think we have all the details being issued out of what our plan is around this, but we want to still support these items in terms of people acquiring product. Um, so anything you have bought, we're continuing to honor warranty. If you need to download software that we have existing available, please do so. Wrap around with it. If you need to call in for some support while it's under warranty, we want to help you in regards to that. So yeah, it's basically everything without a 6 or potentially some of our, licensed broadband radios that we'll be talking about in the future.
Got it. So just to specify for folks listening or watching at home, A5C, A5X, B5X, C5X, C5C, B11, and B24, just to be specific about it. Are there any, can you talk about dates on when, key things are happening? Like when can we buy till, when is, how long are we supporting, things like that.
So if the announcement official today being May 1, our goal is to try to receive purchase orders in for, we'll call it less time, by up until June 15th, with the plan to ship out by June 30th. At that point in time, then we'll do an evaluation in regards to accessibility of the product, things that might be able to go past that. But our goal is to try to have a pretty good time frame or idea of what's going to be in demand by the end of Q2. Then for anything that's been bought, either previously to now or anything that's bought up until shipment, we're still offering a 2-year warranty on those products. And, and at that point in time, those are the real dates.
Got it. So what products or solutions are intended to replace all of these 5 series models then?
So again, looking at our 6 series. So again, point to multi-point, that's our bread and butter type of platforms. So let's talk our point to multi-point system. So we have our A6 platform, which is our access point with our integrated antenna solution. Then it will reach out and talk to C6X today. Just so you know, this is one of our major deployments. This is the volume deployments. We announced our C6 platform, which is our non-line of sight solution, which is going to be commercially available here in the next couple of months. We also have our B6X for our backhaul solution set. And then we will be announcing some additional products here, probably within the next few months, that will be pushing into the millimeter wave range. Now, from a point-to-point viewpoint, for people that have been deploying, for example, C5X, which is a standard deployment model for that, our C6X has point-to-point capabilities that we think will match or even be superior to the C5.
Yeah, I know that for sure on the C6, people so far are really excited. I see a lot of positive, buzz around that. There's a few beta customers out in the world who have that product already, and they've seen, extremely great results, I would say. People are starting to question, people who use other vendors are starting to question if they should continue on with that vendor at that point with the success they've had with C6 so far. Do you know when we might see C6 commercially available? Do we have anything we can share about that before we move on?
It'll definitely be in early Q3 in terms of having availability. Now, it depends on where in the world you get your deployments from. So for anything outside of the US, I think that's going to be pretty easily. The only thing hindering maybe a US deployment will be getting the AFC certification if you want to get into the 6 gigahertz range. And that's just going to take a few more weeks for us to get finalized. But we think the entire world will be able to enjoy our C6 non-line of sight solution before the end of Q3.
Cool. So you mentioned the millimeter wave. Some of these radios that are being end of life aren't 5 or 6 gigahertz radios. What plans do we have for other frequencies? Is this something that you can talk about at all, or is this something that we'll have to save for another day?
We might have to save the specifics for another day, but in general terms, this is how Mimosa's strategy is going forward. Is one, we do have obviously unlicensed. That's our bread and butter. That's an area where our solution set fits very well, where customers are looking to try to reach their customer base for internet connectivity utilizing unlicensed. But what we have also found is the customer base out there has spectrum that is unused within their, we'll call 5G deployments or traditional wireless spectrums, depending on how they want to deal with it. And they're trying to monetize that. They have these spectrums that they want to try to bring into the fold that might not be, we'll call it, appropriate or easy to deploy in a mobile environment. So, but in a fixed wireless or broadband wireless access solution, I think it's going to work out very well. And hopefully we'll be able to provide more details in regards to that in the coming months.
Got it. So kind of getting back on track here about just 5 series in general. What does the announcement mean for my 5 series deployments?
Well, one, nothing's getting turned off. The platform exists today. It will continue to exist. You can call up and get unlocks done. If you have 5 series out there, you can continue to deploy as you see fit. We are giving last time buy opportunities. We have the ability to ship in volume still. So if you wish to continue to deploy with your 5 or you want to expand with your 5, we're giving you a fantastic opportunity to do so right now to be able to build out your network. And we anticipate that the 5 series will last for years to come. Some of our products right now have been over, as you said, 10 years old and still functioning and functioning well. So the network itself, in terms of your deployment today, you should be fine. Now, as you expand and you want to look down the road in terms of what do I do in the next couple of years, we'll be working with you on expanding, utilizing the 6 series platform as either an integrated or overlay type network.
All right. So say people run out and buy a bunch of 5 series, or for those that already have a bunch of 5 series deployed, does this, of course, this announcement probably means we'll stop supporting 5 series networks. And when we do, when is that going to happen? Can we talk more about that?
Well, when we say not support a network, so once again, we have historically the basics, right, of if you have a network today and you want to make sure you have the latest and greatest software, granted, we haven't really issued out new 5 series software in some time, but that is going to be accessible to you. That's always been our motto, and we're going to continue to follow that. Number 2, as items are under warranty, they'll be able to call in for support, going forward. So, whether you bought something yesterday, you're going to buy something tomorrow under warranty, we're going to continue to support that network. You can call in and we will continue to help you any way we can to get you into a successful situation. Now, obviously, at some point in time in the future, the plan would be to start to migrate to more of, we'll call it the improved or advanced technologies that the 6 series offers. That will be the plan, to start moving you towards a migration.
Will we offer any help with migration from 5 to 6? I'm not sure if we can talk about this, deals or any incentives to upgrade from 5 to 6, or is that just dependent upon each user and when they feel like they want to upgrade?
Well, for the podcast, I won't get into all the details because I'm sure there's going to be competitive people also paying attention to this. But our goal is to make this as easy as possible. The Mimosa is going to be around for some time. What we are doing today with Geo and some other tier 1 operators around the planet has been tremendous. And we are going to continue to grow the business, and we want to help customers be successful. And that's one of the reasons we have decided to continue to go forward, but we're going to be focusing on the 6 series and then with technologies as they come down in the future years. So anything that we can do to help our customer base be successful, we're going to do that. We'll just have to work out some of those details with them.
Well, It's great that you brought up helping customers be successful, which will dovetail right into my next question. Speaking of success, will C5X radios work with newer 6 series products like the A6? Basically, will we have backwards compatibility? And if so, when, how does it work? Can you talk about that at all?
So we have been working on a few different scenarios in regards to, we'll call it interoperability between 5 and 6. Now, at this point in time, don't want to lay that out again on an open podcast, but we're looking at some opportunities. What we have found, however, in talking with some of the customer base of how to migrate from 5 to 6, we found it interesting where, especially, let's pick North America, because of the push with AFC is so important. Uh, there's discussions, or it might just have to be an overlay network where, okay, cap off what it is, keep an existing network, migrate up, maybe. We have others that are going down the list of saying, okay, help me do a migration path because it'll take some time for me to move people off of a 5 into a 6. It might be monetary, it might be a technology discussion, et cetera, a little bit more complex. In other parts of the world where you might have more of a, we'll call it point-to-point type network deployed, which primarily 5s and then migrating to 6, those are a lot more easy to have those type of discussions.
Okay. Next thing I have here, TDMA is critical for customer deployments. When can we expect that feature supported in the 6 series product line?
So we have TDMA available now, at least in a beta version. So again, in some of our major tier 1 accounts, you can guess who they are, they're requesting obviously this feature set. And we needed to make sure this thing was rock solid for the magnitude it was being deployed under. So we have a beta version available to the rest of the world. Initial indications are good. And so we are anticipating probably give us a next couple of months, but it's going to be a GA out to everybody.
Okay. I know people have been really waiting for this for a long time, so I hope that they're excited when they hear this. I know they've been.
I think they, and they should. I know a lot of folks have been asking for TDMA. Again, our relationship with Geo has placed us in a unique situation where when you have as big of a network as ours deployed, the magnitude of it, you need to make sure things are rock solid. So we've had this ability for some time, this feature for some time. We needed to make sure that it was fine-tuned and rock solid before we issue it out to the world. And again, that's one of the benefits of dealing with Mimosa now is we are carrier grade. I mean, there's no doubt about what we do in terms of deployments. Now, sometimes that takes us a little bit longer to maybe knock out a few of the bugs, but when it gets out there, you can feel pretty confident you're going to have a solid platform.
And it's interesting that you mentioned that because there are other vendors out there who basically treat their customers like alpha or beta testers, and we're really trying to make sure that we have a solid firmware before we let people have that. So we don't want to treat people like betas, except for those who want to be treated like betas, of course. But we don't want the general population to be treated like a beta customer.
Again, it's with some unique feature sets that specific customers need. Let's just be honest, we'll continue to work with them and they might put them into a beta situation. But with our largest customer that we have, they don't like to be the beta at the end of the day. They want to make sure that this thing works. When you have somebody who's targeting millions of households, you need to make sure that this thing is functioning and functions well.
Absolutely. So another feature here people have been asking about, and they ask pretty much daily, is where is AFC? And this is right now specific for US and Canada, but as we both know, AFC will probably grow further than that. So can you talk more about when we should expect AFC, or can you provide any other information about AFC?
So again, for the people outside of the US who are not familiar with it, AFC is how we'll call it the US frequency is being managed for 6 gigahertz, right? and where our device basically has to go in and dig through a database to make sure that it can operate under a certain channel mix. And we have AFC available today, granted beta format. We can show it, it functions. The interesting part of AFC, you have to go through a pretty complex, we'll call FCC certification. We're in the final steps of that right now with the A6 and the C6X. And so we are anticipating having full AFC certification here done in the next couple of months.
Excellent. And I know lots of people are looking forward to that as well. So that's good news.
Yeah. But we've already proven that in a beta format with enough customers in the US. So it's a workable platform.
Okay, so we'll kind of try to get back on track here. I know we've kind of gone down some rabbit holes. So going back to the end of life, should distributors and operators be concerned about Mimosa's ability to deliver products or support the transition?
No. Again, the magnitude, to give it everybody an idea, when we started the acquisition process into the Reliance Geo family, we have a CM. CM's done a fantastic job, our existing one. We ship product out of Malaysia, especially for people who are a little bit interested in tariff situations. But we brought on 3 other contract manufacturers. So we actually have 4 active contract manufacturers, and we need that for the type of volumes we produce things at. So to answer the question, 1, we can manufacture essentially anything that people need in terms of volume. Number 1. Number 2, 5 series product. We have inventory. We have the ability. I think we should be able to fulfill anybody's needs in regards to if they want to build up their 5 series infrastructure or inventory. We just want to make sure that we have an understanding of where we're at with that. But in regards to moving on to the 6 series, our ability to manufacture product will, just to be blunt, will basically supersede anybody's demand levels.
Got it. Okay, so what steps should our distributors and partners take now to prepare for this transition?
So we informed our partners, or channel partners, et cetera, of the change going on. Obviously, they should be reaching out to their customer base, informing them of what's going on in regards to the end of sales of the 5 series at that point in time. Obviously, trying to see what their needs are going to be for short, medium term in regards to the product portfolio. And in addition to that, too, people are going to have to look at spares piles, those type of things. We honor RMAs, warranties, et cetera, those for the next couple of years, but as everybody knows, you should start bringing some spares into the portfolio mix right now. So, we're anticipating there'll be a lot of activity over the next 45, 60 days in regards to supply chain questions. But everyone should be anticipating trying to get their demand levels in-house into Mimosa as soon as possible.
All right, you heard him. Start putting those orders in so you can have some product around. Okay, and then the last thing I have here, which you could spend an hour maybe answering, or 5 seconds, kind of up to you. But what's next for Mimosa beyond the 6 series, or what we have available now? Is this something that you can dive into and talk about?
Sure, absolutely. So let's just talk our strategy first, and then we can maybe hint at some details. So the 6 series has proven to be a very robust cross-functional platform. It's, again, deploying in such a massive customer has made this thing carrier grade. And I keep saying that, but what that then allows us to do is utilize the underlying architecture to expand out beyond it. So what we're going to focus in on is UBR is still going to be bread and butter for Mimosa for the foreseeable future. But now that we are in this UBR phase, customers are reaching out to us, carriers are reaching out to us, basically saying, can we take the same concept of the UBR unlicensed and maybe move into licensed spectrums that are highly underutilized? Around the world, there is a plethora of millimeter wave spectrum that has proven to be difficult to deploy utilizing, we'll call it traditional 3GPP type mindset overall. And carriers want to monetize that. They want to be able to do something with it. And they're now looking to say maybe this solution set of what like Mimosa offers, if you can transmit in these areas, this is spectrum that I can now utilize and gain revenue from. I have it, I own it, I need to start monetizing this. So you will see us looking into that range. We're not prepared to give out numbers yet, but it's the most logical step for us.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Is there anything else that you want to share with the audience before we conclude today's podcast?
I think the biggest item, especially when you hear of a major change like this, we want to reiterate the fact Mimosa is doing extremely well. I mean, we are now involved with we'll call it the world's largest UBR deployment. It's our platform. We're continuing to expand even further into that. We're utilizing that for opportunities to the rest of the world. We just knew it was time to move from the 5 to the 6. It's the right thing to do, and we'll be here to help you out in that transition process.
Great. Well then, if there's nothing else, thank you, Jim, for joining us today. Appreciate your time and answering all these questions. I'm sure you probably thought some of them might be a little harder than others, but thank you anyway. And I guess we'll see you guys on the next podcast.
It's always fun, Dustin. Thank you.
No worries. Okay.